Joe, Manny, what's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. So, Joe, I've seen you perform before with something with Rock Creek Social Club. So it's a pleasure to be able to speak with you. And Manny, I love your work, and I've just come to your work given this recent issue of the Bridge. So you do fantastic work, though. So if you two guys could speak to how the collaborative process came together for you, and as insofar as like working during a pandemic and trying to create the best possible piece that does the best work.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I guess it kind of started when the piece got written, maybe a couple months after all the killings. I'm not even gonna name which ones. There's so many. It's really hard to keep up with. But all the killings of unarmed black men really started to resurface again, almost reminiscent of like how it was in 2014. I remember when all that stuff was happening in 2014. I remember exactly where I was. I was in Texas doing some work out there. I just remember how it really just affected me. But back then, I didn't really know like what to do or how to really express it. And it came around this time again, and I felt the same way of just not really knowing how to express it. And so I was silent as far as like silent on writing jokes. I mean, me, like I try to every day, I try to work on scripts and do my acting thing as much as I possibly can. When all this stuff happened, I don't know, this stuff wasn't funny to me anymore. I couldn't find the humor in the little things like I usually do. So I took some time to just really be silent, just really kind of educate myself and just dig into the situation and embrace the moment. And then finally, I was able to just express myself through the piece, which we titled Uncle Sam's Fable.
Exactly.
So it really just started off with me just kind of like trying to figure out. I mean, I was seeing a lot of white people trying to be advocates, and they were trying to help out, and they were trying to see what they can do, and some of it was good and some of it was a little misguided. And I just kind of likened the whole situation to white people discovering that America was built on systemic racism as little kids figuring out that Santa Claus ain't real.
Right.
uh,
Right.
went on the went on the rabbit hole with that. I wrote it down. And then Pierre Edwards on Instagram, District Dodger, he's the guy who was the co-producer of this most recent issue. A good friend of mine, he reached out to me and he said he wanted me to contribute to the issue. And I was like, well, hey, I just wrote this joke. I would love to do it. But I think what would make it even better is if we illustrated it in some sort of way to really get the tone of it and bring the message home. And that's when I came across Manny's work. Came across his work on Instagram. As soon as I saw it, I loved it. I loved it because it has so many layers. So he can take one image, and in that one image, I mean, there's like 20 jokes that you just got to find, right? And so I was like, yo, if I can hook up with this guy, he can take what I wrote to a whole nother level. And that's exactly what he did. So I reached out to him on Instagram. I was like, yo, man, I got this idea. What do you think? He was all for it. He took it to the next level. So Manny, I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Joe.
Hold on one second, Manny. While you're talking, Lafayette, if you can throw up the image as well, that'd be great. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to kind of add to some of what Joe was just speaking to. First off, I just want to say that Joe is probably the equivalent of the perfect client, right, in the design world, where Joe, he knew what he wanted, right? He had done his homework already. He kind of executed his part, and when he came to me, he reached out and he didn't really want to put too many restrictions or limitations onto me, and I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a hand holding with Joe. And I'm like, all right, so what do you want? This is your piece. This is your work. This is your writing. What do you want for each illustration? And he's like, no, you figure it out. Like I trust you to do what you need to do. And so that was really nice. And it was just super smooth. And yeah, and Marcus, you brought up the fact that we're working in through this COVID pandemic, and it is tough in the sense of in the fact that we can't really talk face to face, right? But we had a really good first conversation via phone, and he was really. And then to just top it all off, the reason why I think that he's a really good client, if you will, is he loved everything I did. Right?
No, ideally, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. So, Manny, I wanted to ask you, you work in the corporate world and you do this as well on the side. And you're trying to make that evolution, I guess, in your career. So, being able to handle social issues via your medium, how does that feel? Is that something that you want to like expand into more significantly? Because these are trying times, and these trying times are not going to end. We're going to be looking at this for the next 5 to 10 years. So your thoughts about being able to do this and make that evolution?
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that it's really tough, right? For not only illustrators, not only designers. I think it's tough for everyone, right? And
Right.
that's the real thing. And during this COVID time, it's been actually interesting because I've taken this time to just kind of self-reflect and just see what I can put down on paper. And a lot of it has been kind of humorous work that I've been working on with illustrations and like COVID, like what happens, you know, in COVID, and you know the haircuts. There's no barbershops are open,
right?
And you know, and people are getting, you know, gaining weight. I'm gaining weight. I don't want to speak for everyone, but and so these humorous, like I'm trying to find a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel and just kind of get us through that during these trying times. And I think it was perfect because that was the work that Joe saw, that he thought, wow, man, he's like really putting he's saying a lot with just one image. And so I think that was a perfect kind of it came full circle in that way.
Yeah. So Joe, I want to ask you a simple question. As a comedian, past this piece, what was the first joke you wrote, and did you find it funny when it came to you?
So you said the first joke I ever written?
Yeah, that you've written since you did. Since you did this piece, because now you're back.
Yeah.
Regularly. So you're finding humor again. So I wanted to ask you about writing a joke, because I know a lot of comedians write jokes that they don't tend to find to be funny, but they know that it's humorous. So I wanted to ask you about the first joke, and did you find it funny, and did you like actively just write a joke because you're like, okay, I need to get back to writing jokes?
Yeah, I think after I did that, it inspired me to start writing again. But I knew like if I was going to write, I had to address what was going on. Like I had to address the main thing in the room. And I think like the biggest thing with comedy, with acting, with film, with all of those mediums, with art, it's all about honesty, being present in the moment and acknowledging the most impactful thing at that moment. So for me to like try and make jokes about like normal stuff wasn't going to work at that time. So I had to just dig directly into that. So the first like set that I tried to write out was about George Floyd, and it was about the 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And I was trying to bring home just how crazy and how long 8 minutes and 40 seconds really was. And I was comparing it to like all different things. Like if it was Thanksgiving and your religious uncle prayed for 8 minutes and 46 seconds over the food, how mad you would be. Just like little stuff in your everyday life.
This will blow your mind, Joe. I was having a conversation with somebody and I said, it's half of the first half of a college basketball game.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy, but it's like, but sometimes comedy can bring that out, right?
Right.
It sometimes it's the only way that you can get to really realize, wow, like 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And I feel like that's the gift of comedy, is I can put it in layman's terms, so to speak, where I can bring it to your house, where you can realize what 8 minutes and 46 seconds might be in your daily life, and then compare it to that. So I tried out a couple different things. Yeah, I've still been on that tip. I actually wrote something that I've recorded, and I'm working on a couple things, trying to get some live shows back together. But I'm back right now. I'm addressing the issues and wrapping it up with my normal life together and just making it all one, not separating the two. It's all one.
Yeah, good deal. So as a final question, I wanted to ask both of you guys, is this a process that you feel like has broader scope, being able to like use different mediums to be able to showcase like, you know, just the humor of something, or just to be able to get the message out differently?
I think for sure, yes. I think, you know, as artists, being able to communicate across mediums is huge. I think that was one of the biggest goals behind Sonic Studio, you know, producing this issue. I think they wanted to be able to bring these artists together and communicate what freedom meant to us from all these different artists, essentially speaking different art languages, but telling the same message. And that's what we were able to do. Me and Manny were able to communicate with our different languages and combine them together. And I think there's unity in that. In a world where, unity seems to be a little scarce, I think, art could be the bridge for that for sure. Oh, the bridge.
There it is. Boom.
Didn't even plan that.
You already said. There it is. So, Manny, just real quick with you. Your
Yeah.
thoughts about doing this? Is this a way that you want to proceed as far as like doing a collaborative effort?
Absolutely. I think that collaboration is such an important part within the art and design world. And I think that the more mediums, the more accessible it is to different folks. And so I thought this was amazing, especially during this time that we were able to do it. And if you look at the body of work, just within the Bridge magazine, it was amazing in that way.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for the conversation. I want to tell everybody that you could find a copy of the Washington Informer Bridge, this month's copy, at Somewhere on 1239 First Street Southeast. Shout out to all the guys at Somewhere. I've known those guys for a decade and they're doing fantastic work. Moreover, after we get out of this segment, we're going to be showing a special video in regards to the recently passed Chadwick Boseman, John Thompson, and Cliff Robinson. And again, thank you so much, guys, for the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.